Hey, Stasho here. I'm going to show you guys how to solder up a speed controller motor. First, you want to just get everything organized. I'm going to turn on your soldering iron, get the sponge wet. And then while that heats up, we want to plan out how we're going to do this. We know we got the A, B, and C wires here. I'm going to stick them off to the side. We got our positive and negative. We're going to put those off to the other side. Now, I like these little clips so I can kind of see about where they're going. They're going to get held together nicely. I like to figure out about where I need these. Use the other clips for the motor wires. And then pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them, see where they're going to look nice, mark them, and then cut them. First step is cutting. Marked it. I'm going to take my wire snips, right on the mark. Snip. Second one. Snip that off. Third one. Snip that off. Now we're going to double check just to make sure that we're still good. Still good. From there, we're going to cut off the end of the housing. Twist that up a little bit. Next one, same thing. Third one, you got it, we do it again. And then I like to put a little bit of solder on the motor tabs. Oh, never used this last, didn't clean it off for me. No big deal, clean her off. Warm it up, put a little solder in there, let her go. Next one, warm it up, put a little solder. Get on the tab, good to go. Third one, same thing. Warming up, put her there, and that just helps us get the wire stuck on there a little bit easier. If you just put it only on the wires, sometimes it won't stick to the tab very well. And on these little guys, I'm going to take my extra fingers here. Oh, bumped the camera. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to tin the wires. trying to warm it up. The solder to go on there. And pretty much you can only do one side at a time. Make sure it's not too hot when you grab it. Then you're going to spin the wire around. Do the same thing again. And just make sure it's not too hot whenever you grab it. Don't want to burn yourself. We're going to look at it. Spin it around. Doesn't look too terrible. Move on to the second one. Make sure you get any of those loose little strands tucked back into the group. Making sure it's cool enough to handle. A little bit warm. Inspect it. Pretty good. Then we got our C wire. And we're going to do the same thing. Now that we have those tinned and they're cool enough, I'm going to take that and we're going to go A wire, then B wire, then C wire. It's always easier for me to go A, B, and C because I work backwards and the other wires are out of my hair. So if you can see, we got just a little strand hanging off there. We don't want that there. We're going to get rid of it. Now we grab our wire with the pliers. Still got a little bit of solder on the soldering tip there. And that just helps the other solder heat up quicker. I'm not sure why it does it, but whenever you touch it to the other solder, it melts. And we hold it on there. You can feel it squish down some. And we let it dry. Or cool, I guess, not dry. Oh, look at that. It didn't even stick that time. Let's heat this up a little bit. Melt that, make that hot. Get this hot again. There, it finally squished down. You can feel the difference. one's done. And do the same thing with the next one. And since the last time we had to heat this tab up, we'll heat the tab up. And we'll heat the wire up. The tab. Wait until it squishes down. There we go, squish down right there. Pull that off. So I kind of slide it to the right and it'll make a nice little ball there. And let it cool a little bit. Go to the next one. Anything, heat that up. Didn't feel like it did it, but it must have squished down good. And then there you go. Motor wires are done. You kind of pull on them slightly to check and make sure they're good. And we are on to the battery wires. So, same thing again. I like to make sure I give myself a little bit of room there, so we're gonna mark it and cut it right at the beginning of that. But I'm gonna slide this little positive indicator down. That way I don't snip it off. If I snip it off, it'll be a pain in the butt to get back on the wire. So, like we did with our motor wires, get the length, snip it, this one, and get the length, and then snip it, and actually I might make this negative wire a little bit longer or shorter. Snip a little bit more off. So again, we'll take our knife here. Be careful not to cut your fingers. Just rolling it over the top of that wire housing, trimming it off. And like we did, bump the camera again. Like we did with our motor wires, we're gonna tin these. I'm gonna put a little solder on the tip, heat the wire up. Spin it around, get the other side. getting my fingers over there. And again, we get one side, we spin it around, and we do the other. So this, I'm going to take my fingers to the other side and kind of set them up. Right where it would be. I'm going to take the battery out. Put the battery strap back in just to kind of give me an extra hand. Keep that from pushing down. And I'll actually probably switch sides with the buggy, that way it makes it a little bit easier on me. Put the fingers on this side. That'll help it hold it. I have my bullet plugs here. Put them in the fingers. I like to spin them around about where they're going to be. Adjust that way I can put a little pressure on it and it's not going to go anywhere on me. You just have to make sure that you're not touching your plastic with the plug itself because it gets a little bit hot. The other thing is using these fingers helps dissipate the heat so it doesn't get too hot. I'm going to take a soldering iron, put it down in there. Fill up that little bowl with solder. Grab my pliers. Set them where I want them on the wire. And on this buggy I want them tilted up a little bit because we have a stock battery strap in there. And we want to clear it. We don't want it to be nice and flat and flush with the battery because the strap's there, which prevents it from going straight in. And go them up a little bit for nice fitment. Oh, that's in there. See? Hot. It's hot. Wire's not that bad, but this piece is. So we're going to do the same thing again. Take that, drop it in. think it's going to be, because it's going to be on the other side. Just be careful. There we go. Fill up that little pool there. Grab our wire. At that same angle. And then you're good to go, you're ready to run. All the wires are soldered up. Keep it negative and positive separated so you know which one's which. That way you don't burn up your speed controller. And you're ready to calibrate your speed controller to your radio and hit the track. We'll see you in the next one.